Lastly, you are in.
Hello, guys. Welcome to the second edition of FriDAI Brunch. We are here. I'm Maria, and I'm the community lead for Europe for Maker Foundation. And today we have also to host with me this meetup. We have Jocelyn, my colleague. Please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone. My name is Jocelyn. I'm based in Singapore. I'm the Southeast Asia Community Lead from Maker Foundation. So
hello everyone. Today we will be speaking about the potential of DeFi in India and Malaysia, and we have two special guests who are Sai Teja. Hello, Sai.
Yeah, hi.
And Harith Kamarul. Hello. So if you guys can quickly introduce yourself very quickly to the audience.
Yeah, hi. I'll introduce myself. So this is Sai, so blockchain developer and also community builder. I'm into cryptocurrency space from 2014 and been in this space from last 4 years.
Thanks.
So I'm Harith from Malaysia. I run the Ethereum Malaysia community group. We do monthly meetups, and my day job is to do community and education at Etherscan.
Nice, thank you. I think we can start. So we are going through a very, easy to follow interview and panel. And this interview will be divided as last time in basically two parts. The first part will be quick and will be about personal background, and I will make you guys some personal questions, and then the second part we will go through the topic with a bit more focused questions. So the first question for you guys is this: what is your favorite motivational quote?
Should I take this, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my favorite quote is from Abdul Kalam. So he used to say that keep constantly acquiring knowledge. Okay. So this is also applicable in the DeFi space. So you need to be very constantly acquiring knowledge what's happening in this space completely. So now if you can see at the scenario of yield farming, so you need to be in very keen to know knowledge about what's it farming, and daily there are new updates on the DeFi space. So constantly acquiring knowledge may help you a lot to be very good in terms of DeFi space.
Thanks.
For me, I think I'll just quote or paraphrase my dad, basically saying, just focus on giving or contributing, and the world will find a way to give back to you. Especially as a community organizer, sometimes it can be a bit tough to keep on giving, but you do that and you'll find new doors open for you over time.
Thank you, guys. Very nice quote. The second question: what is your goal for the next month and for the next year? Again, you can start, Sai.
Yeah. So our next goal. So I run a DeFi community called Just DeFi. So now DeFi space is very naive and it's very restricted. So I want to take this space to centralized finance space and get introduced DeFi to the centralized finance users, so that they will also be very much knowledgeable about what is DeFi, and they get hands-on in this space. And my second aim would be for the long term. So I recently got a grant from Aave Protocol for building a decentralized limit order platform. So I just want to focus on this.
Nice. Harith?
And yeah, for me, I guess I'll share more on on the community side. So for the Ethereum Malaysia community, I think I'd like to get more young people, more students onto the blue pill of cryptocurrency and DeFi. and be able to create community use cases or build community products that actually add value to the space.
Good. So you guys are basically focused on the education and community building in the end, which is your like aim, no?
Yeah.
Nice. We can go further. And the third question is what was your very first approach to the blockchain space, and what is your role now?
Yeah, should I take this up?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was being introduced to blockchain by one of my friend who was already into Bitcoin investment. But at the time, like I used to not to have many funds to invest into Bitcoin. So I just started using bounties. So from there, like I used to get cryptocurrency and then study like what exactly the cryptocurrency is. Then later on, like I came into Ethereum space and then study smart contracts and everything. So this was my first introduction to cryptocurrency space.
Thanks.
Yeah. And on my end, I'll guess I'll not make it too long, but so I came from the sort of traditional finance space. I worked in a corporate insurance company, and like within a very short time, I realized you just see from the inside that it's not designed to help the most people. It's designed to help the people who already have money, and so I started looking for a way out. I joined a fintech company that wanted to sort of, bank the unbanked. And so they were building with a blockchain backend. Eventually, they got caught in the ICO hype. So I was one of the people that worked on an ICO for that company. So I went through both the highs and the lows of being part of an ICO project. I started creating the Ethereum Malaysia group in 2018. And the idea was at that time, when it was at the peak of the bubble, you'd have like a couple meetups at least a week in Malaysia, but the vast majority of them, or pretty much all of them, were just about, price go up or buying into the next ICO. And we wanted to create like a space for people to either focus on building or learning or just like understanding things like governance, the crypto economics. So just learning more about how the things work and how we can apply that to the real world. So we've been doing that for 2 years now. And earlier this year, I joined the Etherscan team, which I think is one of the greatest teams you can have in the space.
Thank you. Okay, I think now we know a little bit more our guests, and we can a bit enter into the topic. And as I mentioned before, we will be talking about your perspective of DeFi in the country where you live in, so India and Malaysia. And this is a very interesting topic because we used to, all of the DeFi world is very diverse, and in each country there is a different situation. And then we can start with to focus a bit more about this. So the first question I would like to ask to both of you is this. So how is to give a little bit of background, how is the current financial situation in your region, and what is the DeFi situation, and if the DeFi would be helpful there? So if you can start, Sai, it's interesting to.
Yes. So the DeFi situation. So what was your first question? So what is the scenario?
The question is, in general, which is the financial situation? So, for example, in Argentina, there is a lot of hyperinflation. In Africa, there is a weak financial system. Which is the financial situation in India? And if, in your opinion, DeFi could be a solution, if or at least could help in some way?
Yeah, so the current financial system is good when it comes to India, but around 2017 there was a ban on cryptocurrencies in India, but recently Supreme Court of India made a statement that you can now trade cryptocurrencies, and it's completely legal to have cryptocurrencies and trade cryptocurrencies. Yes, so coming to next question, so. Yes, so DeFi could be very helpful when it comes to taking the financial control over the user funds, and one can have users can have their control to their money. And yes, so this is the current situation of financial condition in India. So did that answer your question completely?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we figure out how to. Jocelyn, do you want to tell something?
Yeah, I actually want to add to what Sai was saying, because I also remember vaguely there was one point of time, right, where India started sort of phase out their old currency, and then people were queuing, all outside the banks trying to withdraw all the cash, and then at one point of time there were no enough cash and stuff like that. I guess that sort of pushed the whole hard cash issues into digital currency adoption as well in India. So I know that this is not part of the list of the questions. So how do you see India itself as a nation adopting digital currency? Are they already? Or I mean, I see a lot of digital payments out there in India. Is this growing very fast?
Yeah, so yes, governments are working on there are many drafts going on in terms of bringing digital currency. There are many lawyers working on it, but I still don't feel that it's still in early stages. So there must be a lot of regulations coming out in the initial stages. Then let's see what happens moving forward.
Actually, I was gonna ask Sai as well while we're on the topic. So I've heard a lot about how in India there's this Aadhaar identity. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but like an identity card, and how because it has biometrics, it can be useful for digitization of finance. Is that real or is that hype?
Yes, so we have Aadhaar system as a digital identity, so you can just use Aadhaar and get started with investing into the financial instruments.
But I take it that doesn't involve any DeFi or crypto yet at this point.
Yeah, so at this point, there is no such product where you can just use Aadhaar and get started with investing into DeFi. But yeah, so there are many technical terms that you need to understand before getting started into DeFi. So there should be a lot of education among the users to get started with DeFi as of now. I think we are taking these initiatives and trying to solve by just creating communities.
Okay.
Thanks, Sai. And now we can speak about the same. I mean, I would ask the same question to Harith regarding Malaysia. So, how is the financial situation, and if DeFi could be helpful?
Yeah. So in Malaysia, in general, I think there is. I guess it probably applies in a lot of other countries. There's the people who are in the middle and upper class and people in the lower income group. So for the middle class above, I think there's a lot more adoption of fintech in general. So when I was working on fintech thing, maybe about 4 years ago, there was a lot less sort of awareness of your options to buy like a robo advisor or basically anything technology related with finance. In the last couple of years, we've seen a lot more. So we even have 3 fully licensed exchanges now to buy cryptocurrency, and a number of robo-advisors and equity crowdfunding. So I think within that group, there's more adoption. There's definitely still a lot of space to for cryptocurrency to be widely adopted. I think, and DeFi is an even smaller space from that, so that it's still definitely like a niche group. One issue that we have in Malaysia is that there is this. I mean, I don't really like saying it, but it's a real perception that there are a lot of scams going on, which is one of the reasons we wanted to start a education-based group in the first place to sort of combat that miseducation that's going on. So there are a number of people who would associate Bitcoin or cryptocurrency with scams. So that needs to be solved. But yeah, so I think over even the last few months, we've been getting there. The head of our largest licensed exchange, Luno, they told us that in the last few months since the whole lockdown started in Malaysia, there's actually been a lot of registrations on their exchange that they haven't been able to catch up. Like the amount of signups of people like trying to do submitting their KYC documents are coming in much faster than they can sort of go through and approve. So that's a good sign. And probably DeFi will come after people are more familiar with crypto. For the lower income group, there is this, our central bank came up with this statistic in the last couple of years that 75% of Malaysians can't come up with 1,000 ringgit, which is about 200 plus USD. In the event of an emergency. So there's still that group, which I think neither crypto or DeFi or even fintech in general are addressing their problems yet.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Okay, then I can make you another question.
I think before that, I have a question for Harinath. Harinath, could you please elaborate more on like how you are dealing with scams? So what sort of education are you trying to provide to the users? So any briefing on that?
I'm not gonna say it's been very successful so far, because when it comes to scams, people just know that they want to put in lots of money. They want to put in money and they want to get back lots of money, right? And so it's an easier sell for scams. They just say, put it with me and I'll give you 10% a month or a week or something like that. Whereas when you want to go as a community and tell people that, what is a wallet and how, your wallet is different than an exchange, and people need to like sit down and go through all that stuff and understand, what money is and how decentralized money is different than fiat money. It takes a bit more work. So the incentives are for people to kind of like go for the quick win. We try and do at least monthly meetups. I try and go into universities or like offices of corporate or government agencies and just try and just kind of share some basic blockchain 101 as much as possible. But yeah, there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, great.
Cool. I can go further, and the next question is so we always have this like difference in adoption between DeFi and CeFi, so decentralized finance and centralized finance. And my question is, in your region, is there a difference, and which one of the two is more used, and why, in your opinion, this one is more used? So I think Sai again can start.
So there is a lot of difference between DeFi and CeFi. So users like DeFi is very restricted, and there are not many users coming into the DeFi space when comparison to the CeFi. But yeah, so I feel there should be a lot of education required for the users, because DeFi provides you the authority to keep your like funds safe and everything. But when it comes to centralized finances, then you are trusting a centralized authority to withhold your funds, and yeah, everything in that scenario. But yeah, so the centralized finance actually is providing a sophisticated way to store their funds, and providing a like much like way double than leverage what decentralized finance platform provides. And yeah, so this might be the reason like why users are trying to leverage centralized exchanges or the decentralized finance space protocols.
Okay, and do you see the same situation in Malaysia, Harith, or there is some difference for you?
Yeah, I think it's generally the same. So I was talking earlier about how a lot of people come in, basically wanting to make more money. And for sure, the people who are like that, for example, we have a Bitcoin Malaysia Facebook group that has about 50,000 members. I don't have the exact numbers, but I'd be able to bet with you that a big majority of them wouldn't even know what a wallet exactly is. And for you to be able to go into DeFi, you at least have to know, how to use a wallet, how to, interact. So it's definitely a smaller subset than the people who are, a lot of them are just like leaving their crypto on an exchange. There is within that smaller subset, though, a bunch of people who are very knowledgeable about DeFi. For example, we have the CoinGecko people who are based here, and they are some of the most clued in on DeFi, even I think in the whole world, with the whole yield farming thing that happened in the last few weeks. They were one of those that were most sort of updated, and I think have been playing around with it. Uh, I did a for fun kind of poll just to share with the people here over the last week, and about the majority of people who responded said that they either do it all the time, or they've at least transacted on DeFi maybe once every few weeks or months. 30% said that they're either not sure what DeFi is or just not interested. So I would say within the subset of people who are familiar with how crypto actually works, there's been quite a lot of interest into DeFi.
So you guys, both of you, and this is also my opinion, is the point is a bit that DeFi has kind of has to improve a bit in UX, in user experience in the end, and like we can overcome a bit this adoption problem because by improving the UX and make it super easy for people to access to DeFi, which is now a bit that there are some barriers now. I mean, the wallet, the thing that you just mentioned, and that's the point in the end. No? So if you don't want to add anything, Jocelyn, do you want to tell something, or I can go ahead?
Now, I think I was just going to add on that as part of that same poll.
There is sorry, from the public, which is exactly what I just mentioned. So they asked, can we talk about the UX side of DeFi? It's perhaps the biggest challenge to adoption of the crypto. It's exactly what I just said. So I mean, I don't know how much you guys know about UX, but you would agree that this is the main barrier now to entry, especially for people who are already in crypto space, but they prefer DeFi because it's easier to use in the end.
And yeah, so I want to just add a few points on the UX side. So way last, from past 6 to 7 months, so there are a lot of protocols, coming into this DeFi space, trying to improve the UX. So let's take the example of a few protocols that came into existence recently, like Formatic Wallet, Portis. So these guys are trying to solve, where user need not to, create any wallet. You can just sign up with your email and just create wallet and get started with using DeFi right away. So I think there is it's still in the early stages, but yeah, there are many initiatives coming out of the DeFi space, which will eventually make the UX and UI like very good moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's already a very user-friendly all-in-one DeFi wallet that I usually recommend to beginners. It's Argent. Yeah, I mean, they have very slick user interface where, which is almost similar to whatever banking apps that you use out there. So, I mean, it gives you that familiarity when you actually sign up and register for an account, and then so I think that helps a lot too. So I mean, obviously, like and 2-3 years down the road, we are gonna see a lot more different all these different protocols that has got nicer UI.
Yeah, I think that from the year I joined the space 2 years ago, and I mean I saw a lot of improvement and very fast improvement in UX, because when I joined it was completely, I mean, I didn't understand anything basically about the DeFi project. There were few DeFi projects, and now Argent, I mean, also wallets are super user friendly. There's a very similar, as Jocelyn said, it's very they are very now similar to, for example, Revolut or PayPal. So people are already used to this, and we are going in the right direction, but we still need to improve, of course.
So one of the most important thing is, the meta transactions are playing very keen role when it comes to onboarding the users, right? So each and every time when you need to deposit some funds or like borrow some funds, you need to pay gas fee on the Ethereum network. But meta transactions help you a lot to make the user experience very easy. So protocol will take the risk of providing the meta transactions for the users. So protocols will just pay like whatever the gas associated with that particular transactions to the user. So at like for example at Nuo, so we use meta transactions to just pay for the user's gas fee, and I think Urgent also pays you the meta transactions. So I think meta transactions is going to be very a major player for onboarding users onto the DeFi space.
Because I mean, I think the last thing that we want is that we onboard new users and they'll be like trying to figure out, oh, how come this transaction doesn't go through? Oh, actually, because I do not have in my wallet, and then they need to actually go to the exchanges and then buy ETH. There are just way too many barriers of entry.
And we need to make it as smooth as possible, because this is the main challenge. I think now, Jocelyn, you can go ahead with the next part of the interview. Sorry.
I just wanted to add a bit more. So we were talking about ease of use. There was actually so in the same poll, there's also a similar number of people that said that basically complain about fees, especially over the last couple of months. So I think with layer 2 solutions, that a bunch of them have also just been launched. If DeFi projects can start moving to them, that it would definitely help a lot. Instead of having to pay like a couple $dollars per transaction, people will be much more happy to transact when the fees are lower.
True.
Just to touch on crazy. It's very crazy. So one of the wallets, hot wallet paid $1 million in gas fee recently.
That was apparently a ransom attack by a hacker on an exchange. But I just want to make sure I do address Daniel's question about how to make it sort of easy for people to learn. What I think, and this is, I'm not backing this by any data, but what I strongly believe in is that if we can, as a community, local communities, if we can create like community-backed products that came from within the community, then there are more reasons for people to keep participating and learning. So, for example, one product I really love is Pool Together, and how they make it super simple for people to just start coming in and potentially make money. And I think they've either released or will soon release a version where you can create your own pools. So if you can create your own pools within the your local space, then people can already see, okay, this is how I can potentially win and never lose. And from there, when they've started winning or they see other people winning, then there is naturally an interest to learn more about, oh, so maybe I can learn how to do this or how to play around with that application. So
Yeah.
you want to like give them the candy to pull them in, and then once they've fallen down the rabbit hole, it's hard for them to come back up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's
thank you.
really, yeah, it's
And
really
then
very interesting. So Pool Together is like really doing good in terms of like creating a pool of users without no loss. And yes, so any random one can win this, and no one would lose for like lending into the protocol. And just to add up Harinath's points on like education, so we do very unique steps when it comes to education for our users in the DeFi space. So we just create different events. So let's say like we recently had a partnership with Aave. So where we encourage users to come to Aave and deposit some funds into Aave. Then help us to like help a group of users to know what you did in that particular transaction. So let's say if you want to deposit, so what are the steps that you have taken in a very layman terms to all the users. So based upon the understanding of the fellow users, so we reward all the user like whatever the user task based upon the like user steps, what he did and how they did for achieving deposit into Aave protocol. So this is kind of like very interesting initiative that we have took at Just DeFi. So yeah, so if you feel like educating users, then I think these kind of initiatives will play a major role. So every time because every user need not to be technical guy. So we have to be very enthused in terms of like creating events in a particular way that users will be understanding what they are doing in a very simple steps.
yeah, that's a very fair comment. Yeah, making sure that laymen understand what the protocol is doing. Making it easier for them to understand. I think that's key to ensuring that laymen would start using all these DeFi tools as well. So I think next up, I have a question more for I think Sai, but I think we probably actually mentioned about the key DeFi challenge in India already. So maybe both of you can actually share about what are the different DeFi projects from your region that are well I mean yeah, the key players in your DeFi region, key players in your region, and maybe what are the use cases that they are working on right now. Anyone? Harith? Yeah, or Sai?
I guess,
I take this up.
yeah. So from Malaysia, so we don't really have many projects,
Mm.
legitimate projects, but for some reason we do have CoinGecko and Etherscan, who are sources of information for essentially the whole world. So it's not necessarily a DeFi product itself, but giving information into DeFi. For example, I think CoinGecko just released this like a DeFi list where it easily shows you the DeFi tokens and different metrics that are related to them. So, for example, Compound and Balancer with the whole yield farming thing, they were very quick to start showing data related to those things. So, yeah, a lot of data aggregation, not much actual product yet.
All right. But also, I think Hello Go used to be from, used to be based in Malaysia, right? I don't know if they're still around. And I don't know if they are considered as a DeFi project, tokenizing
Yeah,
Go.
yeah, I wouldn't say they're necessarily a DeFi product right now. Just to be transparent, so that was the company I used to work at. Um, currently they have a product, but that's more focused for the mass market. So like for the non-crypto users, where you buy gold using a mobile app. There was work towards creating sort of cryptocurrency gold-backed token, but we found after a couple of years that there's not a real demand for it from the crypto space. So that isn't really happening right now. Yeah, so I wouldn't say there's necessarily a DeFi gold product from Malaysia.
Yeah. Sai?
Yeah, so we have a couple of products coming out of in India when it comes to the DeFi space. So first major protocol that I would like to introduce is Nuo Network. So Nuo Network is a decentralized debt marketplace. So where one can lend, borrow, and margin trade cryptocurrencies. So and second would be InstaDApp. So InstaDApp is based on Compound protocol. So these are the two major protocols from India. Yeah. So one thing that I like most on Nuo is, so we actually onboard users by introducing meta transactions for our users. So users no need to pay any gas fee from their end. So if you don't have Ether in your wallet, still the transaction will go on, and still like you can place the margin trade, and you can end the margin trade at right time. So let's take the example. So once I placed the margin trade on DeFi, but I got some $5 to $10 profit longing on Ether against DAI. Okay, so now I don't have Ether in my wallet to execute the transaction at that particular time when I made profits, right? So when like I just want to take some Ether from other wallet and just transfer it to the current wallet, and then I should execute the transaction within that time duration. So I just lost $5 from being profit of $5, right? But on Nuo network, one can just execute the transaction at a particular moment, because protocols pay you the gas fee.
Okay. And Matic.
Yeah, so Matic is completely on another blockchain. So they are coming into the DeFi space, and they are also exploring opportunities in the DeFi space now. So there are many developers like who are coming and building some good stuff in the DeFi space on Matic network.
Yeah, awesome. So DeFi space is growing really fast. I just had a session yesterday about DeFi, giving an overview about DeFi, and then I was looking at the chart, like when DeFi first started in early 2018, and then today it's after 2.5 years. It actually grows so fast that it actually grew like 32 times. So how do you see? What do you hope to see, in DeFi in the next one year, like in short term and mid term and long term, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years time?
Yeah, so now like if you compare the last year's DeFi protocols to the current scenario, they have improved a lot, and total value locked in the protocols have been enormously raised, right? So now if you look at DeFiPearls.com, so if you can see that there are $1.5 billion worth crypto locked in the DeFi protocols, which is insane, right? So now you can see the interest that is coming out of from the users, to explore the DeFi space very, very, fastly, right? So if you take this an example for the future, so I would also say that like this is going to be huge because there are a lot of protocols, a lot of developers developing something new in this space, and UX is improved a lot from last 1 year, and you can also imagine how the UX is going to be in long term or like the mid term, right?
Yep.
So I think there will be a competition between DeFi and CeFi when onboarding like users into the introducing crypto. And one more interesting thing is, so on DeFi, so you'll have your access to the funds, and no centralized authority have access to stop your funds or to stop your trades or something like that, right? So I think this space is going to be like very crazy, like moving forward.
What about Harith? What is your take?
Yes, for me, I think I'd like to see a lot more like real use cases. I mean, where the sort of average non-crypto user can benefit. I already think that there are potential that someone can currently already build using what technology we already have. So, for example, even just doing remittance using DAI, let's say to any other parts of the world. If you can just build like a easy UI on top of that, I imagine there are a lot of Malaysian students and people who stay abroad and work there, and they still and using DAI, or to be fair, any other stable coins as well, you can get the funds much faster and even cheaper than something like TransferWise, for example. The use case is again pool together, and I think Sai might be familiar with this as well. Like in India, I'm sure you guys have these things called a chit fund. We call it
Yes.
here, and I honestly believe that that is something that if someone can build an easy UX for, that's something that blockchain provides a real use case. And to give some context for people who are not familiar, it's this idea of like a lending circle. So you can have like a circle of 20 people, you chip into this pool, and maybe once a month you draw out, and the people who may be in need within that smaller circle can withdraw it earlier and maybe a slight penalty to the full amount. But you are essentially banking each other, providing interest-free loans for each other. So I think for sure the if Pull Together can grow, something like that can grow. I think there's already a lot of people in Malaysia who are doing that in the sort of traditional world. And if we can make it much easier and a lot less risk of having a centralized party holding onto funds, that could be a very big use case in this part of the world. And lastly, in Malaysia, we're supposed to be known for Islamic finance because we're majority Muslim. And the whole idea of Islamic finance is where it's based on ethical finance. So you're not just printing money into thin air or providing loans at crazy high interests. So one common complaint that people have, including myself, about that is that essentially it becomes a copycat of the conventional finance industry, and you just put some Islamic sounding words. But I think with DeFi and blockchain, and people can use the concepts and the technology to do something that is actually more fair or just than the current fiat money system that we have.
Yeah. So, but do you see, like DeFi merging with CeFi, or like DeFi will basically conquer the entire whole financial space. It take over like it has never before. I think this is something that people always are debating, right? Like, hey, like, is DeFi going to be like doing something greater than the existing financial infrastructure?
I think, I mean, no one knows the future. So, take it with a grain of salt. But I think as long as the infrastructure can handle it, with, when more transactions come, they can handle the amount of transactions without fees ballooning up. And yeah, security practices and cultures have grown. Eventually it will happen. May not be in 5 or 10 years time. But yeah, I think unless any of those worst case scenarios happen, then eventually people will start picking up to it the way we picked up on WhatsApp or any other digital platforms.
So, I mean, Sai, you still have
Yes, yes, yes. So basically, DeFi space is really getting interesting. So now you can, put your invoices and mortgage slips and the warehouse slips, and now you can start investing into different protocols in the DeFi space. I think this is going to be, very interesting to onboard, lower income people into the DeFi space.
Okay. All right. Great. So I
think I
think
saw one of the project called Centrifuge is doing this.
yeah, they're tokenizing real world assets. So Maker is
Yes.
actually working closely with them. Yeah, just creating real world use cases, as Harith was saying, right? Plugging into the legacy financial system in order to make the protocol scalable. Right now, all DeFi protocols are only limited to whatever market cap that you see within crypto space itself. Yeah, I think we are kind of like running out of time. Maria has been pinging me. So I'm just going to go into before we wrap up the whole session, could you two actually give a piece of advice for people who are curious about, DeFi or wanting to be, community builders in the space? What do you have to say to people who wants to be a community builder or, entering the DeFi space?
It's for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, to be a community builder, so first you must be aware of like what's happening in the DeFi space, and you must explore different things that are happening in the DeFi space firstly. Then only like you will be able to communicate like what are the things happening in the DeFi space to your users, right? So I think community builders should be very aware of like what are the things happening in the DeFi space. They need to be very updated and convey the messages accordingly to their users, like whatever they are going to take, like what are the initiatives they are going to take in that respective field.
Harith?
Yeah, so to be familiar with DeFi, I guess you want to first understand sort of basic concepts about blockchain, because otherwise you might easily be led astray into doing things that are not actually DeFi. So that's the first step. Once you have that, then I think you can engage. There's a lot of communities, whether like in your geographical location or online, with Telegram and Discord groups. So you can join them. And I think one thing that the Ethereum space has is that a lot of people are very open and willing to share, even if they're rich or famous. So that's something that I think really just helps. You just need to sort of step out of your own shell. And for community builders, I think the first question is just to ask yourself, like, what's your intention behind it? If you want to like sell something, or if you want to like making a name for yourself is fine, but not at the expense of growing the community, because people can eventually they can tell if you're doing it like for the money or for growing the space. And you will also find, especially if it's coming down from a bubble, that it takes up a lot of your time, and maybe there's less people showing up. So you get this feeling of like, why would I want to do this? So if you put it as your honest intention is to grow the community of real users, then even when stuff like that happens, you can still soldier on. And the second big one, I guess there's a long list, but the second big one is just to know who you are, who the people are within your local space. There are like local champions, so that they can help you, like connect you with projects, or they might know local co-working spaces, can help you get good deals to like host the location for the meetup. So yeah, so knowing your local champions and understanding your own intentions.
Yeah, that's very well said. Because after the hype is gone, like crypto community actually sort of shrinks as well. And then as a community builder, sometimes you get demotivated because they'll be like, oh, okay, from 30, 50 people originally, and then there's like 10 people right now in this page, and coming to your meetup. And so I think with that good intention and knowing what you want to do, it's very important. So and there's a lot of resources out there as well. Would you guys like to actually recommend some resources to our community here on the chat?
Besides your own resources, you recommend, for example, a piece of advice on where to start. For example, when I started, I remember that I used a lot Medium, for example, or like now there is a lot of other blogs very helpful. There is the newsletter by Camilla Russo. If you can like suggest,
what newsletter are you reading now that you recommend to the community or any?
Yeah, so when it comes to DeFi space, so I'll recommend to go to DeFiPulse.com. So they have very really good articles on how to get started in DeFi, and also I would strongly suggest to watch Chris Black YouTube channel, where he is really doing some amazing stuff in educating people on the DeFi space.
Yeah, and on my end, it also depends what exactly you want. But generally, a good thing to do is just go on Twitter and start following people, and follow the people that you feel like their posts, their thoughts, their retweets are quality. You follow the people that they follow. It will take a bit of time, but eventually you'll be able to find the right people that you want to like get balanced opinions from. I mean, you can just start by say following Vitalik Buterin, and then from there, there's a lot of other people to get quality posts from. When it comes to newsletters, I guess I can shill my own newsletter. So Etherscan does a monthly newsletter, so you can check that, and it's meant to be like very easy for the average person, not technical. Otherwise, there's a bunch of DeFi newsletters. There's Bankless, ETH Hub newsletter covers DeFi quite a bit, and I think Maria mentioned Camilla Russo. I think the DeFi that's also a good DeFi newsletter. So yeah, you can follow that. I think what would happen over time is that you'll be following too much newsletters and too many people on Twitter that it becomes almost impossible to catch up, because there's so many new things that keep happening. I do it for a living, and even I have like hundreds of unopened Chrome tabs on my phone. So yeah, you build it first, I guess, and over time you can kind of like cut it down to a few people that you really want to pay attention to. Otherwise, it will take over your life.
That's true. That's a very good piece of advice for me as well. I follow so many newsletters.
And if you want, like, all these resources are combined in our group, so you can join us on Telegram.
Yeah. So I think before we wrapped up, right? Is there any links that you would like to share? From your end, with the community?
I will share it.
So I think we'll be sending out a couple of links, right, to everyone to join the session, and and I think it's almost time. So for anyone who hasn't joined MakerDAO community, any communities yet, we are available on Telegram. You can just go to MakerDAO official Telegram chat, and then you can go to our Reddit chat, and we are also available on Twitter.
Everything is in the community page, which I just linked here. You can find everything. Also the Latam chat, the official chat, Chinese, everything.
Yeah. So, and one more thing, as we are growing, we are also trying to recruit very passionate ambassadors all over the world. So like in Southeast Asia, I have got like 4 ambassadors already, and then same goes to Maria. She has she's actually leading would you like to share your ambassadors? I don't know where are they from now because it grows so fast. Is it in France or like Germany?
So I have one ambassador in Spain, one in Switzerland, 2 in Africa, and a new one who is a girl, guys. Finally.
Yeah. So if you're interested to join us as an ambassador, reach out to us, me or Maria, and I think my Telegram is this. You can reach out to me on my Telegram. Maria, what's your Maria? Maria, what's your Telegram? Yeah. So yeah, just reach out to us, and then we have like a document, and that document the job scope, and obviously like we will have funding to actually fund whatever that you put into growing the community itself in terms of marketing, even like organizing meetup events and so on. Yeah. So all right, I think that's about it. Thank you everyone for joining us, and Maria, and of course our speakers.
Yes.
Sai and Harith. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having us.
I just want to add a few things, which is, I don't know, Jocelyn, you didn't mention the open position, right?
Oh, no, I did not.
There is this open position, which is there from a while, and the HR department asked us to share here as well, as much as we can. If you guys are interested, if you are here, probably you are interested in the blockchain, but if you want to check it out, this is the link. I will put it here. And again, I will send an email to all the attendees, and you could receive, if you answer to this email, your POAP, so the proof of attendance NFT, like last time. If you want to have it, just reply to the email. I will send the instruction, and I will send you the link, because we are cooperating with POAP and with this initiative, which is, in my opinion, great. And that's it, I think. Again, I will also, so if you want to be the next guest here, or you know someone, or you have some like suggestion for the next topic for the next month, please reach us out. And that's it.
All right.
Thank you for joining, to everyone, and I want to thank you again, our speakers, and have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, and bye-bye.